Now, Stephen Miller, former Trump senior advisor, founder of America First Legal. Stephen, again, we want to help the Afghans who helped us in a meaningful way, a verifiable way, and there are many of those. But should we trust the Biden administration to carefully vet these folks?
Not only should we not trust the Biden administration to do so, the simple reality is that we no longer are in control of the central apparatus in Afghanistan to be able to vet anybody. The Taliban has all of the control of the government now. So the notion that people could just show up at a checkpoint and demand resettlement into the United States and we could have any idea about their background, their belief system, where they come from, now that the U.S.-backed government has fallen, it's just an impossibility. But there's a more important fundamental point that has to be made. Those who are advocating mass Afghan resettlement in this country are doing so for political, not humanitarian reasons. It is extraordinarily expensive to resettle a refugee in the United States. They get free health care, they get free education, they get free housing, they get free food, they get cash welfare. For the price that you could resettle refugees in America, you could resettle 10 times more, 15 times more in their home region, in this case, primarily in Pakistan. Resettling in America is not about solving a humanitarian crisis. It's about accomplishing an ideological objective, to change America. And if we really want to help people in the region, we'll be working with our partners to find a safe place for people to go. But that's not America.
Well, I want everyone to understand how fluid these numbers are. And again, you hit the nail on the head, Stephen. It is extremely costly. I've been getting emails from people about saying, well, Catholic Charities is putting them in this hotel in Maryland, and then Lutheran Social Services is putting them in this hotel in Virginia. And I'm thinking, well, it's not like they're getting government money to resettle the refugees.
Correct.
And it's not just a one-time deal. It's a decade plus of money they get, which, again, somebody has to pay for it. It's not coming out of, Nicole Wallace's wallet. It's all of Americans' wallets.
No, and then the local communities pick up the tab for the education as well, which is very costly. But just to get to first principles here, the United States of America never, ever made a promise, written or unwritten, to the people of Afghanistan that if after 20 years they were unable to secure their own country, that we would take them to ours. That is nonsense. That has never been U.S. government policy.
But why do they keep saying that?
People are trying to retroactively declare that it is.
No, they keep saying it's been said all over cable. We made a promise. If we don't live up to our promise, it's very heart-wrenching. As a mom, it is heart-wrenching to see any suffering. It's happening in Afghanistan. We're seeing suffering on the streets of Chicago. We're seeing suffering in Africa,
and in Syria,
everywhere.
And in Libya, and
Horrific.
in Somalia. If the United States takes the policy that every person suffering under Sharia law has a right to live in the United States of America, we're going to need to make the room for about 500 million people. This is just not intellectually serious. And as I mentioned earlier, it's not about humanitarian relief because it is far cheaper to resettle Afghan refugees in Pakistan and other neighboring countries.
Well, the UAE is helping with these airlifts, I understand, from my source tonight. They're doing big amounts of help to bring people out of Afghanistan. The UAE can take some of these folks as well. They should be more culturally at home in the Middle East, and I think it makes a lot of sense.
Don't repeat the mistakes of Europe.
Yeah, well, and Europe doesn't want them. Europe doesn't want everyone's like, we got to listen to Europe.
They've learned.
They don't want them. I'm sorry. France says no. Britain doesn't want them. Germany and Sweden are trying to deport migrants, and they put a temporary halt on that. But they do not want all this influx of migrants into their countries. And I take a poll on Americans, from Americans. What do you think that poll would be, Stephen?
It would be 90-10 no. Here's the bottom line to sum it all up. There's a lot of people in Afghanistan, millions and millions and millions, who don't like the Taliban, and rightly so. That doesn't necessarily mean that all those millions of people are Jacksonian Democrats who are pro-American and who will embrace our way of life. The most logical thing to do for people who don't want to live in Afghanistan anymore is to find them a home in another country in Southeast Asia or the broader Middle East.
safe home, and we do thank the people who helped us, but not
Absolutely.
hundreds of thousands of people. That ultimately is what I think the left wants. Stephen, thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.